The 43rd season of Survivor is ongoing, and fans are excited to see castaways back on Fiji. New characters are interacting and forging new alliances, which has gone a long way to ensuring that viewers are already growing familiar with these new faces. Yet, while it is early in the season, none of the contestants have matched the energy of some players from previous seasons. After all, most seem to be getting along well with their fellow castaways, and none have struck any fans as outright strange. It's nothing compared to the most cringe-worthy competitors from Survivor. Russell Hantz. While Russell is one of Survivor's most notorious villains, he is also a player who often makes audiences cringe. Between his inability to recognize his incredibly poor social game to his misplaced confidence, Russell often leaves viewers wondering if he is even aware that the other players aren't playing for him to win the million. To make matters worse, Russell even tried to outright buy the title of sole survivor off of Natalie White, which was a ridiculously embarrassing thing to do. The fact that he ran through Heroes vs. Villains confident that he won Samoa, a season that he lost, only makes it worse. Brandon Hantz, a player recruited solely for being the nephew of Russell Hantz, which is cringe-worthy in and of itself. Brandon never actually managed to warm audiences to him. It certainly helps that he absolutely ruined an entire season by being problematic during Caramoan. His behavior towards Michaela Wingle during South Pacific was also reprehensible, as he rallied for her elimination solely because he was attracted to her. It was all incredibly uncomfortable to watch, which is why many fans have an entirely negative view of Brandon. Sherry Beekman. Sherry started Caramoan on a high note. As the only player who actually managed to keep Shamar active in the game, she was quickly proving to have a strong sense of strategy and social play. By the end of the season though, her strategy had absolutely fallen apart. Having lost all agency, Sherry just followed the favorites loyally and even finished the game by angrily informing a bitter jury that she didn't care what they had to say. It was incredibly poor gameplay, and it also helped make sure that audiences cringed when they watched her tell a jury member to sit down. Kat Edorson, a one-world player who proclaimed just how much she loved blindsides before summarily being blindsided herself, Kat definitely made the show somewhat awkward. It was an incredibly memorable blindside, but her strong reaction turned any humor into cringes. It certainly didn't help that she spent a large portion of an otherwise great Survivor reunion episode talking about how her recent surgery made her more attractive to her boyfriend. It was incredibly uncomfortable, especially since the other players didn't seem to know how to respond. Rodney Lavoie Jr., a player who seemingly had a strong chance at winning, Rodney's game fell apart because he had to wash dishes during his birthday. After spending multiple episodes ranting about his horrible birthday, even fans who agreed with him wanted him to give it a rest. Having gone most of the game without a challenge win at all, Rodney was understandably frustrated that he had not experienced a reward. But his insistence that he deserved a better birthday was as ridiculous as it was embarrassing. After all, Rodney had the chance to spend his birthday on Survivor, which should have been good enough for him. John Cochran. While Cochran certainly improved for Caramoan, his appearance in South Pacific was incredibly awkward, as was his return in Game Changers. Since Cochran was a player who outright told his fellow tribemates that he expected to get herpes from a challenge, it is hard not to cringe at his performance. The fact that he also betrayed his survivor bro in South Pacific certainly didn't help, since his decision to betray Jim destroyed an entire tribe and sent him packing. Most fans had the same reaction when he flipped. Why? The decision was as poor as it was embarrassing, and his strange return on a boat at Exile Island didn't help. Virgilio Billy Garcia, a player who only survived 2 episodes, Billy certainly left his mark on the show and even managed to appear in one of the cringiest scenes in Survivor when he announced his love for a player he had never even had a full conversation with. Of Survivor showmances, it was certainly the strangest. Billy's poor performances in challenges, and the fact that a tribe wanted to get rid of him so badly that they threw a challenge immediately, goes to show just how perplexing he was. It's one thing to try to play the middle, but to play it so badly that both sides realize within only a few days is a sign of a bad player. Philip Shepard, the player who coined the Stealth R Us alliance, Philip often took himself and the game a little too seriously. Having fought with most members of his tribe enough that he held a personal grudge against a first boot, Philip could be as harsh as he was awkward. The fact that he spent most of Redemption Island following Boston Rob as an unaware goat certainly didn't help. The only way that situation could have been more awkward is if he went to Final Tribal Council to argue with the jury, which is something that he did. Angelina Keeley making a sacrifice for a tribe is supposed to give a Survivor contestant a heightened chance to win the game. For Angelina Keeley, though, it only helped to make her more cringe-worthy. After all, when she chose to sit instead of competing in a challenge, it won her tribe rice and Angelina the enmity of her team. After all, Angelina never let the tribe forget her decision, even if the tribe knew that Angelina had no actual chance of winning the challenge. Her insistence that she almost died on a ladder also didn't help to win her any friends. It was embarrassing all around, which did not help her case. Benjamin Coach weighed it's hard to be more cringe than a man who intentionally makes up stories about himself, even if the entire tribe knows that his stories are lies. Yet Coach was always happy to try to manipulate his tribemates, who were generally aware of his every attempt. Between his cringe-worthy sayings and his holier-than-thou demeanor, Coach's lack of self-awareness left both castaways and audiences against him. Even Tyson had to sit him down during Heroes vs. Villains to beg him to relax. When Tyson takes a moment for seriousness, a situation truly is unbearably awkward.